Thank you, everyone, for staying with us. Well, it may not be a good time for many Nigerians who've had terrible experiences traveling to the United States as a regime of President Donald Trump appears to be somewhat unfavorable for some Nigerians who have tried to travel recently. For the man who placed a call to the Nigerian president recently, one would think some of the not-so-good narratives of the Donald Trump campaign period will not prevail. After several Nigerians with valid visas were denied entry into the United States, Nigeria has cautioned its citizens against urgent travel to the U.S. This is coming from the Special Advisor to the President on Diaspora and Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Abike Dabiri. In a statement, the office says it has received a few cases of Nigerians with valid multiple entry U.S. visas being denied entry and sent back to the country. She adds that in the reported cases, the persons affected were sent back immediately on the next available flight and their visas were cancelled. She explains that those without any compelling or essential reasons to visit the U.S. should consider rescheduling their trip until there is clarity on the new immigration policy. Well, now, let's get more from Honorable Abike Dabiri on this as it affects several Nigerians with legitimate business to the United States. Many thanks, Honorable Abike, for joining us on the program tonight. It's somewhat a sad news, a sad scenario, isn't it, for Nigerians who have valid multiple entry visas, and this time around they're not being allowed to enter into the United States. And one we wonder, what could be the reason? Is the Nigerian government in touch with the American government on this very scenario? Okay, Honorable Abike, if you can hear me now, what has been the reaction or the communication between the Nigerian government and the United States government now that this scenario is playing out for some Nigerians who have legitimate business to do in the United States and they're being turned back?
Well, what the office has done is just advisory, cautionary. The last gentleman who was turned back, that was the latest case we had. He was actually turned back from Atlanta airport, and he had his legitimate 2-year visa, which was cancelled. He was kept there for over 12 hours. And then the next thing, they put him on a flight to Abuja. He actually flew from Lagos. And of course, you recall that of the IT person that was, actually asked to sit for the exam at the airport. So what we're saying is, let's just be cautious. It's about us now. We're not on any list or anything, but let's be cautious, Like another guy went for a wedding. Another one said he was just going for a friend's wedding, and they turned him back. And he too had his multiple visa cancelled. So it's just being cautious and being just be cautious. There's no problem whatsoever. There's no cause for alarm, but let's be cautious.
Well, I mean, for someone like President Trump, who obviously we followed the campaigns in the United States, and he said some very unpalatable stuff about Nigeria. But the president, the call he placed to the president, Muhammadu Buhari, who is in London, one would think that there might be some very good relationship. What are you hearing from the United States? Has the Nigerian government been able to make a communication? What are they saying? What is essentially the reason why they are giving Nigerians this kind of treatment? We're not on the 6 nations that have been placed on ban order in the United States.
First and foremost, the statement that you said President Trump made during his campaign about Nigerians, I don't think that statement was true. A lot of them were social media fabrication. So there's a very good relationship between both countries. But what we are saying now is that if in the last 2 weeks, 4 people have been sent back with no reason, let us be careful. Whatever reason you're going for, let it be obvious and be known. In one of the cases, they called the person that the visitor, these are visitors, they called the person that was going to stay with, and that was the last the guy heard. So we're just saying that let's be careful. There's no problem, no issue with any relationship, but we've had this stress cause. In fact, Nigerians in diaspora, they set up they set up some rescue missions at the airport, and some of them will get lawyers to help out. in cases where there have been challenges and then they call their relatives. So they set up a team, and I want to commend them for that. So what we are saying is, let's be cautious. There's no problem we're going, but if it happens to you, be sure that you have somebody to call and talk to so that they know where you are.
Honorable Erawa, are you concerned, of course, with some of the treatment method on some Nigerians? We have the South African situation there, and this time around we're seeing this kind of body language to Nigerians in this matter. When we wonder, it looks so much that the Nigerian government is not strong enough about some of the responses, some of it is given towards these conditions and this treatment being meted on Nigerians.
So, well, in the case of South Africa, I disagree with you. The Nigerian mission in South Africa was on top of the situation, did what they had to do. And we know that no Nigerian was killed in this xenophobic attack in South Africa, this particular one. Although we've lost quite a few lives in the past, mostly extrajudicial killings. But in this instance, the mission even met with the law enforcement agencies who have promised that they will protect foreigners in South Africa. And they've also have about 4 lines for distress calls for Nigerians in South Africa. So this is happening for the first time under this administration. I want to also take them for their word, believe their promise that they will deal with this issue and that it will not happen again. Reprisal attacks is not the way out. We shouldn't go down low to that level. That's not who we are as a people. So I think the mission actually was on top of the situation. Now they are investigating and compiling those that must be compensated. And also demanding that those that have not been compensated since 2015 should be compensated. So the Nigerian mission has been on top of this situation, and I think they did quite well in this regard.
Many thanks, Honorable Abike Dabiri, the Senior Special Advisor to the President on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Matters. Many thanks for your intervention there. The hopes of Nigerians are that Nigerian government will stand up for its citizens when they have been badly treated, whether in the country or outside the country. Well, let's move on now to some other issues of very critical concern to Nigerian politics. The Independent National Electoral Commission is left dry and stranded. Why? The outcry initially last year was the non-appointment of national commissioners, which made the INEC board incomplete and forced the commission to operate sometimes in what some say was unconstitutional. This time around, 5 more INEC resident electoral commissioners have ended their tenures, and that will leave 33 states, yes, 33 states without resident electoral commissioners out of the 36 states of the Federation. Only 3 states in Nigeria have resident electoral commissioners. The resident electoral commissioners are the ones responsible for the day-to-day running of the commission's offices in the states. The presidency is responsible for the appointments, and now the vacuum, is now very much created in some of the states. They will be conducting elections in a matter of months, and some others when the appointments are made, and if it comes too late, they will be learning on the job until election period. What are the implications of the vacuum on our electoral process? Let's get perspectives on this matter now as the convener of Election Situation Room and the Executive Director, Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, Mr. Clement Nwanko, joins us from our Abuja studio. Many thanks for joining us on the program, Mr. Nwanko. Why would the Nigerian government, when it comes to INEC, always delay in very critical appointments such as these? First and foremost, how important is the role of the REC?
Well, the resident electoral commissioners in the states are responsible for ensuring that the machinery of the electoral commission in the states are up and running. They understand the terrain, they understand the politics of the area, the nuances of the area, and they prepare the logistics or help the INEC at the national level to prepare the logistics for elections that would happen in the states. Of course, in the period between general elections and if there is no off-season election happening in the states, they may not be as busy, but certainly 4 years is not such a long time to prepare for elections. And were there to be, of course, need to run elections where there is elections to be held, where there are vacancies and so on, the resident electoral commissioners in the state will be responsible for it. But beyond that as well, preparations for elections are very, very important. They need to understand what is going on. They need to understand all of the ramifications of conducting elections. They need to understand the important build up to the elections. And they need, of course, to sometimes go on training, observe elections in other terrains outside of the country and build up to knowledge of how and what elections should be. Relationship with civil society, relationship with political actors, relations.
Okay. We'll take a moment now, and when we return, more on the INEC dial situation. Mr. Clement Unwanko is in our Abuja studio. Join us again.